So we started the meeting at 6:38. Smokey, technically.
Yep. Let's start
All right.
over. Let's go.
All right. We're going to move over the consent agenda. Hey guys, because it's on the screen, do I need to go over every single one of these, Mark, or just as far as just go one by one as far as talk about it, or is that how this?
No, we're not. We're not. We're not. We're not talking about individual. There's going unless somebody pulls it off. So I would
Okay,
just.
okay.
I would just move. I would just move that.
Perfect. I got it.
Well,
Perfect.
move
I
that
would
we
make a
approve the
motion
consent
that we,
agenda.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Do any directors wish to pull an item from the consent agenda for separate discussion under old business?
I do not.
Neither do I.
All right. Hearing no requests, I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. So no
Aye.
opposed. All right. No opposed. The motion carries and the consent agenda is approved. We will now move into our reports section. These items are for informational purposes and no board action or vote is required at this time. First is the first is the manager's report. At this time, I will hand the floor over to our general manager, Smokey, to provide an update on general operations.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody. I just wanted to reach out real quick. This is a monthly report. If it's your first time here, this is something that I provide to the board. Has a quick snapshot of our money situation. It also has some expenditure stuff that all the homeowners are entitled to look at and see. We're going to go down the list. It's a very high level report of the things that we're working on. And Mark, I do have this on my small screen, so hold on one second. If I look like I'm showing you my chin, I apologize on the video feed, but I do have to move this up to a taller screen. Hold on one second. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay, great. So, man, we've done a great job. I have to say, whoever lives here should be really proud. The fact that our delinquencies are extremely low at this time is a favor, and it shows people have buy-in and they respect where they're staying at right now. This means everybody's going to help improve the property values. We have a lot of owners there. Even the rental properties, the owners take pride in it. So I really appreciate that. Oh, sorry. Got to admit someone. Mark, I know you're doing this. Let's just roll downward. Completed action items. Right there. Stop. We have a bi-weekly touch base so the owners know that we have a call scheduled bi-weekly for the board and management and any vendors that need to join this call to basically discuss our business and make sure that we have constant communication between all three parties. We have compliance inspections and asset inspections that happen monthly. We also did accomplish some things this last month. The drain clean out was done by A1 Plumbing. So any of you guys that had some of those sunken drain covers, everything like that, they were finalized and completed last month. We also have some concrete repairs on some of the larger grates. Board, can you help me out? I'm still trying to remember that is the which
The
side
concrete, that's
complex?
the drains over by between units 31 and 34.
So between 31 and 34, those drains were actually redone and they're no longer a trip hazard thus far.
Correct.
Please, if there's any issues with those, unit owners reach out to the board. Let's also keep looking at Rolling Suds out there. They started power washing last month. from what I've heard from the board, my inspection is next week, but I heard it looks awesome. I'll pause there. Do you have something else there, Mark, to talk about that, or does any of the board want to speak on that?
It's on an. I mean, we can talk about it later.
Okay, great. Bare Roots is doing some landscape improvements. Let me just run through this then, because I know we have a large agenda. We have some tech collect issues that Mark stays on top of, and the rest of the board does also. And we're addressing those as well as we can do. We don't have a problem with that right now. We had a pump replaced in the pool room. We also had cameras installed and new locks installed there because we had some equipment stolen. I'll let them get into that later. It's administrative wise, we've sent community updates pretty frequently. We've sent broadcast emails. I think that the overall communication has been solid between the board and myself and the community.
Sorry, I'll get down to it again.
No problem. But everybody, this is a management report that your board gets every month. It's kind of a high level detail of what's went on. They also get weekly management reports, which are more detailed. And just letting you know that we have constant communication between the both of us, and everything seems to be working well. So I'll pass it over to you guys because I know.
Thanks,
Okay.
Smokey.
Thank you, Smokey. Just a brief reminder to everyone on the call to all residents regarding community awareness. While the association exercises ordinary care in maintaining our common elements, the association does not provide personal security. We ask that all residents remain vigilant. Just remember to lock your vehicles and your doors, and most importantly, report any suspicious activity directly to local law enforcement first, as community safety is a shared awareness effort. All right. So we're going to move on. Next, we have the treasurer's report. I will now turn it over to our treasurer, Mark Allen, to provide a brief overview of our current financial standing. Mark?
Great. So what I'm presenting on is preliminary data. It's we don't get our finalized for April until a few more days, probably the 20th. So this is just how it's looking at this point. I mean, if you don't kind of project at this point, you're looking way back at March, but I think it's too late when we have this meeting. So we're seeing some very positive things that are happening in our finances, and have been able to leverage some things. Leverage some things to accomplish some front end things that we've been working on achieving financially. So with the current statement that we have, which is included in the agenda packet, and we factor in the half a month of April insurance that still needs to be added to that, we're about break even at a loss of about $438 right now. In terms of our expenses and our revenues. We had a long time collection success where we retired some aging accounts who some owners had paid up, reducing us to pretty much what Smokey showed, which is like $100, which is that's very, very good. We continue with a positive cash flow after we meet all of our obligations. We are building some operating surpluses that we're using to finance and put forth to pay back some things on the reserves. One thing we were able to do is since we were able to pay back all of our insurance premiums in December last year from last year's borrowing, we had some cash surplus at the beginning of the year, and that really has allowed us to do some of the front end work that we've needed to do these first 4 months with that extra cash. Now we're moving towards repaying that new insurance piece, so the cash will be a little more limited than what it has been. Those are the highlights. Kind of the things that we're doing well on. We're still benefiting from better than anticipated property insurance premiums. Water bill backs are up in collections, but that's really pass through money, so that just goes on to pay our water bills. So, but those are maintaining strong in terms of better than what we had projected. That insurance proceeds number is recognizing some settlement money that we spent on some of the projects we've been on the roof project that we've been working on. And then kind of what we talked about, some front end stuff. The professional services is year to date over budget, but that's due to payment of some engineering cost and payment of some of getting those documents. We're going to talk a little bit later of getting our documents from the attorney squared up. And then the tree maintenance is for the major work we had done on the tree at Hall and Carlisle that was in the utilities and really need to get some weight off of that tree. Our overall liquidity is we have about, as of April 30th, almost 58,000 in operating liquidity, 230,000 in reserve funds. Our insurance premiums haven't come out yet, so that's going to go down about almost $100,000 once we pay that. And then the insurance settlement money, that's our final settlement money that we've been spending down on the various projects, and we're down to our last 34,000 on paper, but that money's really already spent on making the plans for the fix, which we'll talk a little bit later. So kind of the bottom line is we have about, going forward for the rest of the year, we probably have about a $3,000 per month cash surplus that doesn't go to our obligations. It doesn't mean that we're just, so that'd be things that the unforeseen things that we have, repairs and maintenance that we can't plan for that come up. Most of that for May is going to be spent on, if not all, some pool work that we need to do, and then some other things that have come up. So the goal there, the goal is to try to keep our cash at a level that we can really fund our reserves where they need to be and pay back that money we've had borrowed from reserves in the past. Just some recommendations as we move forward. We just want to make sure that they do accrue that insurance for April before the information's finalized, even though we've not paid the actual insurance bill yet. That we continue when we're paying back the insurance that we borrowed over 9 months, and so we'll be doing a almost $16,000 transfer to pay back what we owe in reserves from operating each month, and then really look closely at that surplus that we have to make sure we're able to fund all our operational needs without really digging deep into our principal amount there. So we have a good buffer, and then just really look at our non-emergency spending to make sure we're staying on board with that. Questions?
Pretty straightforward, Mark. I need to keep us informed well in advance of these meetings. So I don't have anything on this end.
Nope. Nope. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Mark's going to be on a roll for a little bit. So thanks for the Treasury report, Mark. We're going to move on to the 2026 project updates. Mark?
Yeah, so in January, the board adopted a pretty aggressive plan to accomplish some objectives they'd had or some goals they had for the year, and then added a few along the way. Well, not really added, really solidified some things to try to meet some needs that have been long overdue. One is the power washing, and like Smokey said, and y'all can talk about this in terms of the board if you have any things to add, but really our buildings were really in bad, dirty shape. And so we did do a multi-vendor bid system and came up with this group called Rolling Suds, who that is what they do all day, every day, is wash buildings. And so we've been really pleased with the meticulous nature and how how the buildings are turning out. They've pretty much completed everything that's street facing. They've got to come back next week and finish some of the internal units. They've got some of the downspouts clean, but they'll have to do them all in that. So the trees are going to be challenging, and they can't use lifts, so they're going to have to be on ladders. So it's really more of a challenging phase for them to get through that. Smokey mentioned the concrete drain repairs. That's been a long-standing issue where those had sunk down, and they went in and added some concrete and leveled them out so they're not a tripping hazard. We finalized the sewer cap replacements at seven locations or 14 units to where those caps had fallen in to the pipes. Had we not done that, when somebody needed to in those units access that and couldn't get to it, we would probably be paying a lot more money to get access for them. So that was really a preemptive thing to try to get that taken care of. There's going to be some more maybe in the future that need to be done, but we took care of the 7 that really you couldn't even see the cap. Like I said, the landmark oak on Hall and Carlisle, we did a major trimming on that. We also are doing health treatments. So that's that money went to cut major limbs off that tree, and they got it cut off prior to the time the winter storm hit. So that was good. Anyway, that's gone into maintenance. So we'll continue to do health treatments on that to make sure that stays in a healthy position for the aesthetics, but also, it's much cheaper to maintain it than it is to remove it. Bare Roots they may have a slight more to do, but they came out and did the Carlisle landscape enhancements, filling in the ground covering, adding some bushes, doing the enhancement at Bowen and Carlisle. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to see that. If you haven't, please take a chance to go look at that and see and trying to build that aesthetic better over there. We have had we're in the process of doing a structural evaluation. This is separate than the roof evaluations that they've been doing. They did come out and survey and visually inspect the buildings and looked at about 10 units. We're still waiting on the report for that. We've got some projects, vertical control joints, we're awaiting his report, so that hasn't started yet. The plumbing evaluation, we're seeking bids still on that. We may have to push that to next year for finance purposes. We're working on bidding out the wood fence painting. So our wood fence needs to be refurbished and repainted. And so that's currently under bid. With the parapet cap painting, and we'll talk a little bit more about why that's on hold later, but it's basically we're coordinating that with the work that they're doing on the roofs with the parapets that people have been talking about. And then we're still kind of to be determined on the phase 3. There's going to be more information in that as we go through the meeting tonight. We did complete all of our governance and compliance goals. We achieved an enforceable standard of conduct and conflict of interest that the board has adopted and filed with the county. We adopted role descriptions for our various officers, and then we amended the bylaws to remove director term limits. Those had become useless as it's been a struggle to get people to be directors, let alone have term limits when they need to leave after 2 terms. It does also ensure continuity of experienced board members as well. We added language to enforce the code of conduct and conflict of interest and provide flexibility for the board to set the date of the annual meeting. There had been 2 or 3 dates in our documents, and basically we'll do it in September, but it allows the board to have some flexibility with that. We already talked about the 2 evaluations, one's being studied and those, but those are really to help do diagnostic work and make sure that we have the best, first of all, that we're dealing with what we need to right now, but also that we can build the best reserve study and plan for future events should we need them. Looking forward to the rest of the year, some other things we'll be working on is we'll update our reserve study. So we'll be working with our reserve company. We entered in a 3-year relationship with them. So this year they'll do it all by paper, but we'll send them updates and they'll update our reserve studies that we can use for budget planning this year. We'll talk a little bit more later, but we'll begin our budget planning soon. And again, we have the construction defect, which is we're moving on with as well. Questions?
No,
No,
I just
sir.
want to add. I just want to add, if no one is taking the time to walk around the complex and look at the outside of the buildings, they've done a masterful job. You can see the huge difference on between the units on Hall and the units on Bowen on the side. Plus, a lot of the Carlisle work is outstanding on that. So, really appreciate the work that Suds has done on that, and it's made our place look even more beautiful than it already is. Mark, you're up again, sir, with the quarterly visual inspection report.
Yeah, this might be kind of hard to see, so I'll try to blow it up as much as I can. But as Smokey said, we did a walk. We did our quarterly walk, him and I, to look at the community property, focusing on a few areas. And from that, we built a list of repairs or maintenance that need to be taken care of. Some of those have been completed already. Some of those we're still working on and moving forward with trying to get bids or work on what we need to do with that. So there's several things that we were able to, like the work he did at the pool room, getting that door maintained and getting it cleaned up around where it was rotting at some at the bottom. That we did have a handyman go by and do some light painting along some of the rust areas and our front sign. Got some stuff hauled away. We've got some stuff that we need to bid out, that meaning the storm drains that need to be cleaned and landscaping drains. We already talked about bidding the fence out. And then we're in the process of replacing some signs that were damaged previously and getting some community, some additional frames for the other signs to bring them up to the same level we had for the tow signs that we had to add. So, any questions from the board on any of this?
No.
And Mark, if you want me to speak on any of that, I can, but
Yeah, I mean, if there's questions, you could. I guess the main point of this is that these have been identified and they're in the process of getting addressed and being more proactive than, waiting till it happens. We'll be doing a walk come up here to continue to keep this up. So.
Great.
Excellent.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Mark. We're going to move on to old business. Our main discussion here is going to be our Together in Maintenance Phase 2. This is a ongoing initiative. This is an item for we're going to board management discussion only. No voters required to that. So, Mark, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes. For some reason, it's not letting me share. Hold on. I didn't want to share it. Okay.
Yep.
Wrong kind of share. So this is just an update from the board on this Together in Maintenance program that we began last September. If the board remembers, we began this by sending out checklists to unit owners on areas of unit maintenance that they were responsible for, asking them to do a self-check and identify areas of their unit they were responsible for and go ahead and preemptively address those with that checklist. That phase ended in January. We gave everybody from September till the 31st of July to basically do that self-check piece. Then in mid-January, we did formal inspections where we identified specific issues about each unit and sent a formal list, inspection list to the owners with a 90-day cure period. That went to owners mid-February. And so the cure period actually expires next week on the 19th. And at that point, we'll have to move to phase 3 for those that haven't completed that, which is enforcement. And that's will be involving sending final notices, notifying of fines, and starting to implement those, and then and possibly the association actually completing the repairs and billing the owner. This was as of Friday. This number's changed. We're up to 32 units that are actually complete at this point, with 12 units that have work underway and may have a few things left, and then 19 units that we still have pending with no visible signs of progress towards meeting those. Again, if the owners here on the call haven't started, they should get going. If lead times can read as much as 6 weeks, especially for trying to find somebody to paint your balcony or do a door or any of those that are kind of more specialized. So owners really need to secure those contractors immediately to avoid penalties. Even if you're not going to be able to be done by the time, we would ask that owners submit proof of signed contracts if the work is delayed, so that we actually see that there's progress moving towards it. I mean, the board is not really wanting to find it. I mean, the goal is not to find people. The goal is to get the maintenance done. Kind of the common inspection findings that we saw, some of the steel lintels had some rust that needed to be treated. We had some bowed panels or dented panels in some garages that needed to be fixed. There was some frame rot, mostly at the bottom. You can see this picture shows some significant frame rot that needed to be treated and fixed. And then the Juliet balconies, making sure that they're, if they begun to rust or were flaking paint, that those get taken care of. Smokey did work with a vendor to find a replacement door. That's been a challenge for many of our owners in the past. If they needed to do that, I think three owners have taken advantage of that. There's been some delays in that. Hopefully they're going to get installed in the next few weeks, but it could be likely that those aren't going to be in by the time the cure period expires. So we would typically just give those an extension because we already have the information that they've ordered those. It's just a matter of the vendor taking time. So with phase 3, owners who aren't in compliant as of May 19th will receive a final notice of violation, and be notified that if it's not cured within 30 days of that letter, they'll start getting a $5 per day fine. And also that we would reserve the right to execute required bill.
Mark, just to be clear on that fine, just so everyone's on board, is that for each individual violation or in total?
So it could be for each individual violation. That would be a decision of the board.
Okay. Just want to make sure we have that clarified so we communicate accordingly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, that's a good point. The association reserves the right to execute repairs, so we let them know that and charge it back and still fine them. They would still have a fine, and this would be on top of that until it was cured. Owners always have the right to contest the violations, but they'll have to do that by requesting a hearing within 30 days. And then the law does grant military exemptions for people who are active duty on or the National Guards, because we don't want to punish people that are away serving our country for something. Questions on that?
I have a question. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted someone.
No, you go ahead.
So I got all this stuff prepared that was a part of like the violation email, and I responded back on the portal, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it commonplace to potentially get a response back saying, hey, we've received your pictures and all of that, or should I just not expect a response from whoever's checking like the portal emails and stuff? I just want to make sure that like I've done my part in just letting y'all know that the repairs have been done.
Smokey, I'll let you take that one.
Yes, no problem. So when you send it over, we have an admin that watches work orders. How did you submit that the information anyway?
I just responded to the original mail that I got on the portal with the PDF attached with like, like the list of violations. And then I sort of responded to that email and I put in pictures.
When did you do that?
I want to say a few weeks ago.
And what unit are you
Take a
in?
look. What unit
Unit
is it? Yeah.
Unit 6.
Smokey, that was
Well,
on the list. I think that was one of the ones I gave you.
no, I'm clearing it right now.
Yep.
Like if she looks right now, it's been cleared.
Yeah. And you should be getting notification when it's cleared. That the system should be sending that to you.
Okay. So,
Yep.
okay, great. So, is this to say that my email has been received and y'all we're in the clear or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Sorry. There should be. I'll work on a better way to just respond to that. Usually we just close them out if you get
Gotcha.
something because we have people responding to two different sections. But no, I get a weekly report from the board
Mm-hmm.
that tells me which ones have passed, which ones are ready for closure. And between Monday and Tuesday, I usually get those inputted.
Got it. Is there a better way to respond to emails like that? Am I not like following protocol?
No, you're
No,
following protocol.
you're
Okay.
fine. No, do it just the way you're doing it.
Okay, thank you.
But the net of that is right, Spooky, is that everyone should get an email. I know when I did mine, I got an email back saying
Yes.
officially that this is cleared. So if you have
Well,
not
that's
got,
that's what if she looks in her email right now, she probably has one.
as of like 5 seconds ago, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
because when we were on this call, I was like, okay, let me take time to put these through. It's Monday. It's time to do it. Sorry, I don't work on the weekends. I hope you guys don't either. If you have to, I apologize. But I take my family time there. So when
I think
things
anyone
roll
needs you to work
over,
on the weekends. I think it's fine. I think
I
just the
try
key
to
for
do my
everyone here is
best.
that if you haven't got an
Absolutely.
email, we don't know about it yet, right? So if you've submitted something and you haven't got an email, then you need to resubmit it or let us know.
Well, I'd ask her right now to check her email and
So
see if
she
she
just
had a
did. Yeah,
She
she
response.
said
said
she got it.
she's
Yeah.
got it, Smokey. I guess. I mean, just to be fair, the issue was she said she submitted it 2 weeks ago and got it right now. So I guess what we should know is like what's a fair
Hey,
turnaround time.
Chris, before you go off on a tangent, I'll let you know that I have to wait for the board approval to tell me that I can release that. And I got it on Monday.
No,
It's
no,
in there on
that's
Tuesday.
Smokey.
We're good.
I'm
We're good.
with you. You didn't
We're
let me
good.
finish. I said
Oh,
all we
okay,
should
sorry.
do is communicate what a fair turnaround time is. That's all. That's all I was
We're
saying.
good.
Yeah, well, it can come. It usually comes like you guys. The board is super responsive, so when they inspect and they tell me it's okay to relieve, I also have everything that I do, so it's done within 48 hours.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you, Smokey.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mark, if for the people who are on the call that don't know where we find the list of vendors, you want to give them a quick shout out for that, just so they are aware at this point?
Yeah. So everything's on our everything. You should be able to find everything on our website. So if you go under maintenance,
And for those that don't know, we have a website.
if you go under maintenance and scroll down um, to the bottom, there's a vendor resource list and there's a place to recommend a vendor. So the vendor resource list is populated here, and this is populated by owners submitting them through that. It automatically populates once they submit it in the vendor submission there. So
And then there's
Thank you.
also the Facebook page that a lot of people like to share information as well. But I think that's
sure.
so two different ways for people to do it to try to make it as easy as possible.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Any
Please
questions
let
on that?
everybody know any social media on my side we don't monitor.
Yeah, it's all good.
I always like to keep that apparent because people are like, "Well, I put it on the Facebook. Why didn't you know about it?"
Yeah, It's closed.
Yeah.
It's closed just for us. It's okay.
Well, and just understand the Facebook is not an official association Facebook page. That is a page that's from the residents. So that's not something we maintain or moderate at all from the association.
If we see something, we try to answer it, but we don't
Yeah.
always. It's not actively. No one's actively looking at it. So, um, on that. Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. So we'll move on to just a discussion, no vote, on phase three, the construction defects parapet caps. Mark, once again, sir, you're up.
All right. So just the background for everybody is remember this all started really around 2019 when folks who had been here quite a while noticed some water intrusion coming into their units and began investigating it. They got permission to file a lawsuit. We ended up filing a lawsuit and doing some investigation on some construction defects. And so that was finally settled in 2020, where we got $1 million. About half of that went to lawyers and engineers. And so that's the 24,000 that we have left, or 32,000 that we have left, is what that remains of that $1 million settlement. Phase one was some structural repairs on some garage lintels. They had put too small of garage lintels in some of the units. They had to be replaced, and that was quite a project because they had to remove the brick, pull out the metal lintel, make sure the building didn't fall down, and then add the lintel back. So that was about 30 units that had some lintels replaced, and then a few others that just had some reinforcement. That spent about half the settlement money that was left of the 500. We moved on to 2024, where we did the major window and balcony door replacement. That involved replacing all the flashing around the windows and the Juliet balcony doors, and all the doors were replaced. As part of that process, that was a $1.3 million project, and a couple of $100,000 came out of the settlement money as well. And now we're moving into this phase three, which was the looking at the parapet caps. We'd had some folks who had some problems with their parapet caps as well, and some leaking from into their units from what the roof area might be. So in last May, I believe, or May or June, we started working with Reconstruction Experts and Charles Taylor to do some inspections and really review and try to figure out what we need to address those issues. So all this to be said, we did some visual inspections, we did some moisture testing, we did a bunch of different things. And the last step was to do some intrusive testing, which they did the most recently, where they actually pulled off things and looked at what the situation was underneath it. And basically there were two findings. One is that the parapet walls were missing or discontinuous weather barriers found at the wall caps. Basically, they're not properly weatherproofing underneath the wall board and the parapet caps, and that was causing some leaks in some units. And that was present in every one of them they opened. And then the other issue is the rooftop doors. The doorways when you come onto your roof were not properly flashed, and that is the source of some other leaks into units. They did not. The good news is they didn't identify any structural issues or roof deck sloping problems that were causing it to leak. So as we look at moving forward on this, Charles Taylor's working on building some plans, but the HOA is responsible past, most likely, for the parapet wall. Definitely the walls that are in between them. There'll be some parts of it that the owner's responsible for, and some parts that the association would be responsible for, but that'll all be put in to the bidding as that goes from there, because the wall board is really on the owner, but the underneath the wall board is on the HOA. So we'll just have to sort that out as we get the pricing on it. If we do something similar like we did last time and do an individual assessment or a special assessment to pay for it. And then the rooftop access door flashing is likely on the owner. And the question will be, will that be a required fix for everybody because it's defective, and would that be included in the project as well? So as we're seeing, the Charles Taylor is currently drafting repair protocols for both the door and the parapet caps. They'll use that those protocols to Ari will use that to give us some pricing on it. One of the things we did not ask Charles Taylor to write a report for us because that would have just been a lot of money spent, and we really knew what the result was. So we did not choose to do that. And then because we wanted to really focus on a permanent fix that's warranted. So like has a warranty on it. Yeah, once it's stamped by an engineer, and they follow what the engineer says, then there's a stronger repair than it is just to have somebody come in, like a roofer, come in and fix things. We did have some units that we're currently having, especially with the rain we've been having lately, some active leak mitigation. Leaks coming in. Some of it was due to the doorway, and there really was no mitigation offered that we could do if it was coming in through the doorway because of the lack of flashing. But the engineer did work up a temporary waterproofing for those units that it was believed was coming from the parapet caps, and there were 8 units that we actually contracted with them to see. If you walk around, you can look up and you can see the Tyveks on some of those units. So hopefully they saw some immediate results this weekend. I think Eric did for sure. So
Yeah, I can speak to that. So I'm in unit 29, and mine was actively leaking when it rained sideways and hard. And after the rain this weekend, it's been very nice not to have water coming down through my ceiling. So that temporary fix worked. So thanks, Mark.
So kind of the decisions the board's going to have to make as we get everything down is, are we going to do a comprehensive, because the recommendation coming from the engineer right now is that we redo all the parapet walls. So even if there's not active intrusion going on, we need to get in and make sure they were done correctly. And there's just a lot of evidence to say they weren't. So do we take on that as a project that we do it all at once? And that way we get some economies of scale and get maybe some better bidding prices, and consolidate engineering costs that will have to come along with that when they monitor the project? Or do we do a multi-year rollout that is somewhat of a phased approach, trying to prioritize which ones we do first, second, third? So that's decisions the board.
Is the intent, Mark, are they going to give us back a bid both ways? Is that kind of the...
Well, they're going to give us we've asked them to give us a full bid first,
okay,
and start with that. So they're supposed to be bidding it all out right now. As soon as they get the drawings from Charles Taylor, they're working with Charles Taylor right now to determine what all they need from Charles Taylor to do that bid, because his initial drawings that were only for the 8 units that were showing, or 7 units that were showing active intrusion at the time. We've added 1 since then, and that cost was estimated for us about $21,000 just to get those plans. So we certainly can't multiply that times 63.
Right.
For plans. So hopefully they're going to get it.
Is that when they do the plans, and I know every unit's got its own intricacies a little bit, but when they basically do plans, there's certain floor plans we've got for each unit.
Yeah.
So will that kind of cover it if we get one for each?
I think that, yeah, I'm really not sure what Ari needs more. I mean, the repair is the same. There's not a lot of change in the repair once it's laid out, but he is doing drawings for those specific units, and so they're going to be very detailed for that piece. But I mean, he feels like he can do the same thing to all the parapet walls, and
Gotcha.
I think they want some additional information, and so they're working through that.
Gotcha. All right, more to come.
More to come. So just in terms of thinking about the cost of a project like this, we've had a couple of units that had one wall done, and that was a cost of about between $3,000 and $5,000 for the entire work. And remember, and that would be That's mostly been the party wall, which is one of the shorter walls. And, you got 4 other walls. And then when you get to the HVAC, it's got to be, if that it goes to where they're working and having to replace it, they'll have to drain the air conditioner, unhook it, do the repairs, put the Freon back in the air conditioner, and then rehook it up. So that'll be an added cost. So again, that's why we say, is there any, what are we going to gain by doing it all at once or not? So I can't give you a number. This is the best I can say, but it's not going to be a cheap project. And it's not funded. It will have to be funded through, and that's what we're going to talk. If we do it all at once, it'll be totally funded through some kind of special or individual assessment. If it's phased, it could be funded through a combination of, and this is just an example, some special assessment and some monthly due increase to build up our reserves to pay for the rest of it. So it really just depends on the cost. I mean, you also have to look at how much extra money can you generate every year, even if you did $150 more a month in reserve funding for each unit. Any questions from the board?
The roof doors would just be like an added individual service, essentially like the windows when we did in the past.
I think we have to talk about that, because if we know they're damaging our point would be, are they damaging the structure underneath it by it happening that we're responsible for? So yeah, it might be an add-on, but the question is do we allow them? Do we say, no, you're going to have to fix it and we're going to do it this way? Or let them get the choice to, like, we take it on as part of the project and then we would just do all of them? Or do we, let the owners try to find, but they're going to have to use the fix the engineer comes up with if they fix it. They'll have to use those drawings and give those drawings to their contractor, and the contractor will have to do it that way. But yeah, those are good questions, Robbie. We don't know that right now, how that's going to work.
And I assume folks that you mentioned earlier, Mark, there's folks that have actually fixed walls and things like that. There was some of the parapet caps and things already with the expenses you're talking about. They would just have to, I guess, show what they did and the drawings and all that kind of stuff. So they would be out of that piece, or would it still be part of this process?
Well, the question would be whether we need to redo the wall or not based on this fix that he comes up with. That's a potential.
Right.
I don't know the answer. I mean, yeah, we could maybe evaluate whether they needed to go back and redo the repair or not. If we did some type of individual assessment, that maybe saves them some money. If we don't do an individual assessment, it's not going to save them anything, because it'll be spread over 63 units.
Yep.
I think somebody has a question. Go ahead.
Do you guys have any documentation from the phase 1 and phase 2 part of what you just presented? So which units needed to get their windows done? What was the issue? Is there any documentation lying around somewhere that I could take a look at? To give context, I am just trying to figure out whether my unit 6 was on that list or not, and if the homeowners at that point fixed anything. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
So the process was that there was a we have the list of the work that was done, and we have a list of the inspection that was done to show whether there was intrusion or not.
Okay.
And I can get that to you, and we only required owners to address the windows if they were a level 3 of severity or more.
Gotcha.
So if it was a 1 or 2, they weren't required to do it. The other issue is even some of the windows that even after they got reflashed, because the window was itself had been deteriorated, they still had leaks afterwards, even after the repair was done, because the window was bad.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, because we fixed the caulking on our window exterior when they were power washing, and Mark, you came over. So we we had them, recaulk it, and I'm just having him look at all of our windows but I'm just trying to figure out, like, even if it was like a level 1 or level 2, is our unit on there, and is there anything, like, I just want to,
Sure.
yeah, just take a look and see
Yeah,
if at
I
this
can get
stage
that
of
to you.
auction I
We'll
want
get
to
that
do
to you.
anything. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Huh?
Sure. Thank you, Mark. And there's not any further questions. We'll move on to discussion of discussion only, plumbing assessments. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, this is just, I mean, I don't know if it's just an ongoing item that we've kept on here.
Okay.
Knowing that it needs to be there. I don't know if I think Smokey has another vendor he's reached out to, but we still don't have any information on. So it's just so it's not forgotten.
I've
Yeah.
reached out to J&N Plumbing because they said that they have a broad scope and they have their own engineers in the background, which I really liked from the conversation. In case there's a disagreement, they have the engineering backing to solidify whatever report they bring to us. I should have that quote this next week, actually.
Yeah, and the purpose behind this again is for pre-planning and reserve planning. If X pipes are going to last us 10 or 15 more years, let's start getting that budgeted, now for future repairs.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Anything else you guys want to discuss about that? Okay. So we're going to transition now to new business. First item, item alpha, is the 2025 audit report. And we're going to need a motion to approve the independent auditor's report for the fiscal year 2025 completed by Timothy DeVault and Company, PC.
So moved.
Second.
Hang on one second, Chris. We have a motion. Is there a second? Please.
I just seconded.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to do things by the book these days, sir. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion from the board?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that we did receive an unqualified opinion, which is the best you could come from your audit. There were some changes and then whatever recommendations Worth Ross has already moved to implement those as the notes have asked them to. So, but we appreciate Smokey and Worth Ross really staying on this so that we get this done in a timely manner. We've had some history where these have been greatly delayed, and it's good to have these done at this point of the year versus December or later as we have in the past. So thank you to Worth Ross and Smokey for that.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
we're going to work on getting them earlier also. So.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you. I will now call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right. The motion carries. All righty here. So we're going to move on to item Bravo, which pertains to Dependabill. We'll entertain a motion to ratify the Next Century Gateway and I guess that's 57 transceivers for the amount of $8,358.60 to approve the use of reserve funds for this project.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Does anyone on the board want to have any discussions regarding the Dependabill equipment or the
Yeah,
use
I
of the
put
reserve?
we put this on the agenda separate from the consent agenda, just so we could discuss the background behind this, because we did end up
Thank you, Mark.
this is the second year we've had to buy a Next Century Gateway, and that was due to a theft of that equipment this year that happened in February. So I don't know what they did with it, but they came in and stole this as well as our router for our AT&T router out of that equipment room. Since then, we've taken some action to put new locks on there. We've added a camera in that room. We've got a lockbox we're going to put the equipment in. But last year when we replaced the gateway, we were able to use old equipment that was in the garages. Because we had because it was talking to some old equipment that was reading from those transceivers. Well, with the theft of the equipment, they took that old equipment as well. So basically, the old transceivers don't speak to this new equipment. So we have to replace 57 of those in the unit garages. We had replaced 6 of them last year, and they work with the new equipment, so that's good. And so we were able to save a little money there. But that's going to come to fruition. This project's going to come to fruition soon, and they'll have an installation date, and we'll have to get owners to provide access to their garage so that can happen. And that's always a challenge, because everybody has a life, and being home on a certain day at a certain time is a struggle. So that's going to come down. So I just wanted to have some just provide some background on that. So the board was aware of that, and the community was aware of that.
Yeah, Mark, you want to give everyone who somewhat maybe new homeowners on the call, like exactly where those were located in the garage, in case there's any questions regarding that?
Yeah, they're behind a panel where your water turnoff is. It's right near the meter. Each garage has an individual meter. That's how we sub-meter and get your water bill. The association pays the city of Dallas, and then we bill everybody back based on that usage from that meter in the garage. And right now, we don't have the ability to see what's being used or not used until we get this equipment in.
Okay. Has there been any change to like the Wi-Fi password or Wi-Fi out there at the pool with the new
No,
equipment?
it all migrated. It all migrated when they put the new equipment in. Thank you,
Okay.
AT&T.
Yes, cool. Thanks, Robbie.
Hey, Mark, is this this and the AT&T stuff or anything else? Does it get to the level that we can file a claim against the insurance for theft? Or is it
Well,
still
our
too small?
deductible's $25,000.
Got it.
Come on, man.
Wait, double, triple.
I don't know. Even if it did, I'm not sure we would file it
Nice.
because the reason we get good insurance rates is because we don't have claims.
Nice thought, though.
Yeah.
Well, well, man, thank goodness, Robbie, your company doesn't charge us $25,000 for the router.
I mean, I should have had them charged, and then at least someone would we could have got it all free then, Let's go.
Insurance is one of those things that, once you use it, it impacts your rates. And so you have to be very cautious whether you take that on or not. So, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't be doing on something. It would have to be pretty significant for us to make a claim. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, moving right along here, we're going to move to item Charlie, which is a discussion regarding our budget timeline. So there's no vote on this, but we will briefly discuss the upcoming schedule for planning the next fiscal year on that. I'm not sure if that's Mark or Smokey on that one.
No, it's me. So
Okay.
As y'all are aware, we start our budgeting process in June. Typically, it's a multi-month process that we have in place and that we've had used the last few years, and it's served us well. We start planning early with the goal of trying to have close to the final draft done by the September annual meeting, so we can, show the owners and explain to them kind of why we ended up with the number we ended up with, and that's been very helpful for our owners as we've in terms of transparency and helping them understand. So we would start, as we do every year. We will, we're going to talk about it next, but with a community survey that helps us identify priorities of the community and evaluate vendors. And from June to August, Smokey will contact all of our existing vendors and try to get projected rate increases, so that can be incorporated into the budget. If we can't get anything from them, we'll do a modest increase just because prices go up. Generally they've been going up 3 to 5% a year, so that's kind of where we are. We would have our first budget work session on August 12th as a board. If needed, the second would be September 7th. We have a board meeting on the 14th and an annual meeting on the 21st. And the goal would be to have that draft to the community on the 21st with an adoption in October.
Okay.
Thoughts?
No, it's kind of what we did this last year and seems to be working well. So it's good communication, Mark.
Hey,
Yeah,
so
we just get these
is
dates on our calendar so that we have them and go from there. Yeah.
the one thing on the September 7th, isn't that Labor Day?
Is it?
I
Yeah,
think it
that
is.
one's
I
not
think
going
it's
to work.
late this year, right? Yeah. So it's
Yes.
not.
Yeah, it's Labor Day.
Is Chris going to be in Minnesota?
Chris will be at the.
I don't know yet. The schedule will be out
Some
in a week
Viking
or so.
game somewhere.
Thursday.
I'll
We'll
be
know
in
Thursday.
Vegas, so it'll be okay. So
Okay.
Yeah, so we may need a good catch, Robbie. So we can go back and check another date, like do it the 8th or something. We try to do it on Mondays, but we could do it on the 9th. We could probably, well, we might want to pull it back to the week before then, but
Well, we
that
already
makes
have a
them
board
pretty
meeting
close
scheduled
together.
the 14th. We have a board meeting scheduled the 14th, so that kind of coincides with that, obviously. Yeah, that's good. So the 7th, maybe we could work it into that our Wednesday call if that's possible.
Yeah, the 9th.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might work.
or we just try to see if we can do something between the 12th and the 7th too, right? We can just try to see how much we can do via email and whatever in between.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's to just kind of get that last work session is to just, get the board
Yep.
on board with everything. So yeah, I mean, we can look at something between this. I don't know what the week before. What's the week before the 7th? That's the
First and the 31st.
Yeah. I mean,
Week
I'll be out
prior
of
to,
town,
yeah.
but I'll be out of town. We can figure it out. Though.
I mean,
like
just
August,
my 2 cents.
like
It would be
the
ideal.
31st or the 24th. The 24th would even work, but that just doesn't give us a lot of time to do some stuff in between. But it could work.
I mean, ideally, Mark, just to throw out there, if we could do it on some of those Wednesdays,
Yeah,
that way we don't have to have another meeting. That would be fantastic.
sure.
Yeah.
It's just Robbie can't usually get there on those meetings.
Yeah, I can try my best. And it's hard to make it. We'll see. I mean, let's just figure out what we look like after the 12th, and then we can figure out we can play it by ear after that point.
Okay. All right. Let's move. Mark, you want to go? Or, excuse me. Move to the community survey right quick.
Yep. So here's the draft of the community survey. It's basically the same survey we use a similar survey every year because it helps us gauge improvement too. So this is the kind of the questions that we have. So I'll give you all a chance. I don't know if y'all had a chance to look at this prior to the meeting. But really the goal would be, do we need to change some wording or do we need to ask anything additionally than what we already have typically asked? The first section is really just about Worth Ross and how they're doing as our management company from our community standpoint. Can they help them, and are they being responsive?
The only thing
Do
I
they
would,
know how
I
to
would
get a hold of them?
potentially add in this, Mark, is maybe like a not applicable type thing. If someone didn't actually involve them or talk to them at all, like we don't either punish them or we don't benefit them.
Does neutral come as a punishment on this, Mark, or is it just?
Well, when you're going to try to rate people as like a net promoter score, it's going to want to be like the 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 5 out of 5.
I mean, I think
Well,
you could
guys,
act not
I'll let you
applicable, but we
know,
would want to know the
the
answer to
way
number
that-
2. Not all of them would you have a not applicable
Hang on,
to,
Smokey.
because it would just be some that the problem
Yeah, no,
is the way
absolutely.
the
I
system
agree.
works, Robbie, it's hard to differentiate that. You'd get a not applicable on all of them or get on none of them. So,
Right.
I mean, we would probably get some people saying, I don't know, I know how to contact Worth Ross, and they would say not applicable.
Okay.
But that's really not going to give us a lot of information on that. But we can do it.
Smokey?
Man, honestly, I just want to bring up the NPS thing. I've talked to you guys about that already, so I'll leave that lie. But so far during this meeting, these board meetings are meant for the board to interact with the community. I have been sitting back and I sit back, and there's a lot of things that are not mentioned that Worth Ross and myself do in the background to support your board. This is their meeting, though. I want you to keep that in mind. So when that happens, just because I'm not talking more or because I'm not presenting more does not mean that Worth Ross and myself are not involved. And Mark and Eric and Chris, and Robbie, I'd hope that you'd speak to that real quick
Yeah,
before
of
we get
course.
off on the wrong track with this.
No, I would let. I mean, honestly, I would let Mark has the most day to day interaction with Worth Ross and you, Smokey. When you and I talk probably once a week, and you're always on top of the things that we need to talk about. So I have no
Yeah.
issue there.
Yeah,
Mark,
I
if you
mean,
were,
I don't.
so
I'm
here's the
sorry
thing.
that just came off wrong because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to how it was brought up, and I just think that it could be twisted a little bit to make sure the fact that I'm silenced right now is because this is a board meeting, not a Smoky meeting, not a WRMC meeting.
yeah,
Right.
Hey, I think we can grab this at the end, like during Smokey with you and talk in the executive session about that specifically, because my understanding, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, the point of these surveys is for the community's understanding. The board knows what we do with you, Smokey, and we engage and interact and so forth. But I think this is more about the community's engagement with Worth Ross and what they're asking when they have one-off issues for themselves, not in general what the board's doing with them. That's a whole different piece, in my
Correct.
opinion. And I think, Mark, that's what the intent of this is, correct?
Correct.
No,
Yeah, yeah. The goal is
I
to
think you're
see
right with there, Chris.
how y'all
It
are viewed
just,
by the community, and if there's things that we need to do to help them understand all you do behind the scenes, we certainly that certainly can come out of a survey like this. Is to say, hey, we need them to know this is going this way. But it's really the board's ability. I mean, we evaluate all our vendors through this from the community standpoint, and so that's really the purpose behind it. But it's not meant to be a gotcha by any means, by anything
yeah.
for anybody. But it really is an improvement tool.
To me,
What I
it
will
helps.
say is we've seen improvement from Worth Ross multiple years on this survey. So we're seeing that. And I think from a community standpoint, they're not necessarily sure if it's the board or it's Worth Ross that does a lot of things anyway.
Yeah,
So, that's good. They don't need to know who does what or how it happens. They need to get great service. And that's our goal. And I think we've seen great service increases from Worth Ross in the past year since you've
yeah, and
taken over,
also
Smokey.
I also
and
think
no,
with
I'm happy to hear that. It just, as the meeting went on, it was like, is Smoking going to talk to this or Mark? No, Mark will. No, Mark will. So I was just making sure that everybody knows me and you work hand in hand in a
Yeah.
lot of aspects.
No,
yeah,
we
and
couldn't do anything if we didn't have you. I mean, that's the whole
yeah,
thing.
and
So
and Smokey, honestly, this helps the board. If there's any disconnect that we might, because we try to stay on top of things with you the best we can, but if some things inevitably creep through, and so if this helps identify a disconnect that we weren't aware of, good, bad, or indifferent, it's good to have this on the survey. In my in my
Absolutely. I agree.
in my opinion, so this is not.
No, I agree with that part of it. I'm sorry. It just felt like I was being the redheaded stepchild back here.
No,
And I'm like, wait a second, we do our part too.
no, we. I think
so
everyone aware
I
of
mean,
that.
that's why I think it's important that we have the survey like a not applicable, so that the
sure.
people who don't use you, haven't talked to you this year, don't put like neutral, and then it looks like neutral is pretty bad in a net promoter
Right.
score,
That's
right?
fair.
So it shouldn't
That's
be
fair, Ron.
penalize you.
I mean, when we like any survey, when we evaluate these things, there's several ways to do it. You can average the score because it's set up that way, but there are also you look at grouping both like neutral is like a zero, and you look at what percentage you're getting that are satisfied or very satisfied, okay, and what percentage are saying they're not satisfied, okay. So the not satisfied or the significantly dissatisfied or whatever these two are, this degree disagree and strongly disagree, those would be categorized the same. So what percentage of the responses say they disagree or strongly disagree? Um,
Hey,
so
I'll
for
just say the NPS scores were brought up, and those are a different grading scale completely than this.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So
Any further discussion on this part?
No, move on, please.
you're good with the survey, except looking at NA?
I think that's what we get from. I think Robbie would like to, and Robbie, maybe you can give your ideas to Mark to, you guys can talk together on that if you need to. Otherwise, that I think we're good on that. Any further discussion on that? All right. So we're going to move on to item Echo, which is a discussion regarding a community event at the Vine. So no vote, just a discussion on that. I can speak to that, Mark. Whoever wants to talk about it, doesn't bother me on that.
It was funny, we did one a year or so ago, but we talk about it a lot, but we don't get a ton of participation, as you know. The last one that we did actually had a fair amount of folks, and I don't. In my opinion, it'd be nice when we get the pool open eventually here.
Yes.
To do something, a kickoff.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, is to celebrate the reopening of the pool for this summer, and to loop it in with get to know your neighbor, like kind of we did last time. I was really happy with the hot dogs that Chris provided with his machine. That was really cool. Um, have some drinks and things like that on the HOA, and just it was a nice time to. I know quite a bit of people at the Vine, but a lot of people have moved in over the last 12 to 18 months. So it would be nice to fully meet them if they're possible on it. I think we just need to find a date that works for everybody. I mean, I was going to throw out Thursday, June 4th, as a placeholder and get some discussion on that from everybody. So, go.
A month from now?
Will the pool be ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just double check. That's the first thing. So make sure the pool
question. That's a fair question.
Well, I mean, you can't guarantee anything, but based on what we know today, yes, it should be.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a great day. For me personally, I am out of town, but
okay. When are you in
town?
town?
No, you can't do it when you're out of town. You got the hot dog maker.
When are you in town, Chris?
I'm in town the following week.
Okay, well, so that's funny. I'm out of town the following week. I mean, we could try to do it the 28th of May if everyone thinks the pool will be ready then. I don't want to get too far into June. That's all.
I mean, 28th of May works for me.
I'm out both of those 2 times.
Well, Robbie Hill, you're never here, dude. So.
You weren't there last time, so it's all right.
Was 2 there last time. I ate all those hot dogs, a little hot dog thing. That's amazing.
I'm teasing.
Peter, since you're kind of new to the board, do you have any thoughts on this, sir?
The June 4th, I'm out on that one.
Okay.
I was thinking further into June, just so they make sure the pool's open and hopefully it's filled and heated, or it's heated by the sun by then. But
yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, I'm more than open. I'm out of the country the week of the 8th, but you guys could always do it without me. It's not a big deal. Or we can look at the week of the 15th of June if that works for everybody.
I mean, last year not many people actually got in the pool at the event, so I'm not that worried about
0 people, if I remember right.
Yeah, but from me aesthetically, it would be great to have water. I don't know. It's just it seems kind of 19.
No, and I'm not talking. I'm talking about the heat. Like I think the week of the 25th or the 26th, 27th, 28th would work of May is where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I put it this way. I'll just give you my 28th. Or that week that he's talking about after Memorial Day, obviously. I'm totally cool that week. And the only other time I'm in town, I'm gone the entire month of June except for the week of the 8th. So I could do the 11th.
Yeah. If it was up to me, like I said, you guys can do it while I'm not here. I don't have a problem with that, but I would be fine with the 28th. I think that lands most people are here except for Robbie. Love to have him, but if we have 85, 90% of the board, I think that would work on that.
Yeah, that's just Memorial Day week, right? So I don't know if people. That's where I'm gone out. So I'm not sure if other people in the community.
Yeah, and it's going to have to be then or in the middle of June. I personally vote for the 28th.
I'm for middle of June. would be my preference.
Okay, sure.
But you guys,
I
you guys
I
feel
told
strongly
you,
for May, that's fine.
I'm only around that 1 week, the week of the 8th. So
That works.
Wait. So I need to know this because I want to help out with something. What day are we looking at right now? We're in May right now.
Well, if
So
they
the
do
9th,
June,
Chris?
the choice would be, well, right now we said the 28th of May, or
I
if
saw
we're looking
that.
at Thursday, it'd be June 11th. Which, by the way, that's my wife's birthday, so that probably won't work.
it's my
Or
birthday too.
June.
I'll be in Turks and Caicos, so whatever on that.
That 28th. Where does everybody sound at? I thought I heard someone say they were going to be out of town.
Well, Robbie's out of town.
Yeah, I'm
Peter,
out that whole week.
Peter,
So
are you here, or are you just would you? I think that's two different things. Peter, are you here, or would you prefer it
Yep.
only?
I'm
Prefer
I'm
just
here
in
on the
June?
28th. My preference would be in the June, that week of the June 8th, but I am here on, it's the
Wait,
first
the
week of
June
June
8th,
that
a
I'm out.
Monday.
Yeah.
You're really going to jack everybody's whole week up, aren't you?
No, he said the week of. I think he was referring to the 11th.
I know, because
Smokey.
we're going to have fun. I'm just saying. Hey,
No, I mean,
So let's do it. What about June 10th?
that's a Wednesday. It's hump day.
It works for me.
I'll be with you guys in spirit. So
I know,
I would
Eric.
look. I love you guys to do it.
We'll save you a hot
June
dog.
Eric's call. I can do the June 10th. I can't do the other, but if you need to do it without me, that's fine as well.
Hey,
No.
Eric, when do you get back?
I won't be back till that 13th. So y'all just do it.
Let's
just do
just
it the
say-
10th.
What about the 17th?
Chris is not
I'll
here.
be in Mexico.
So
Yeah, I mean-
it
We're not going to be able to get everybody here. Not all the
Yeah.
board's going to be able to show up.
so just do it the 10th or the whatever. Just do it then. I'm fine. You guys do it.
It sounds like we're going to get 4 board members here on the 10th,
Yes.
and that's probably the only time.
Or
Yes.
4 members the 20, or for the 28th. Those are the two choices.
Yeah. You guys
Which
do
4?
it to
Do we like
do it in
Eric
June.
better, or do you like Robbie better? I say the 10th.
Let's flip a coin.
I would prefer you guys do it in June. I know it'll be a little.
You guys just inbound it to me because I want to help out with something.
Yeah.
June 10th.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Okay. Everyone good on that? No more discussion on that? Okay. So that concludes our general business for the evening. We're going to now open the floor for the members' Q&A. We welcome unit owner comments and questions. Just make sure everyone has a fair opportunity to speak and that we respect everyone's time. There's a strict 3-minute limit per person. If you have a question, just state your name and unit number for the record, and we'll go from there. So I'll open up the floor.
There was, I don't know if anyone's going to raise your hand now or not, but there was one question from someone that left earlier, and they
Okay.
asked the status of the pool. So we should just put that on the record, what the timing is of that.
Yeah, I think Mark, we met with, Mark, Chris and I met with the pool people to finally figure out the fix on that. Did she give a definitive timeline on that, Mark? I may have missed that part because I was a little bit late.
So, she said the work could be done this week, but she hasn't got us an estimate yet.
Okay.
So if we can just follow through getting an estimate with her, then
Okay.
yeah, she said she could get us on the schedule this week.
Smokey, can you please follow up with her, please?
What's remaining to be done? It looks like they power washed all the walls. So what's the
There's
remaining?
a crack. There's a crack in the mortar brick back there, Peter,
Okay.
my understanding. It just needs to be sealed.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they're
there's
gonna
cracks in
paint
that wall, Peter.
We are
that
going to probably go
is
ahead and get them to
causing
paint
leaks
it
in
so
the
it's
bathroom.
more of a uniform color.
Okay.
We didn't know it could be painted, but now we do.
So nothing
Got it.
egregious. We just need that thing. We just need it to be whatever fixed, and then it needs to dry to cure.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
takes a day or two to put the water back in it.
Yeah. And the two pieces of work you talked about both require no rain, no outside moisture for that to.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's been, as you know,
Yep.
quite rainy the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
around.
there was 3 things, Peter, that needed to get fixed, right? So is the cracks, it was the painting of the rock, but also those actual fountains that push the water out.
Mm-hmm.
Those they have to see if they're potentially faulty, and that was what was causing some of the leaks. So that's probably the biggest issue that's unknown, what needs to get repaired, in my opinion, listening to her when I was out there. So if they haven't got back to us yet, Mark, then we should obviously, between you and Smokey, or I'm happy to call her as well if we need to, but ask her like the update on that, because she was going to have that one guy follow up on the details on it, right?
So that was a convoluted conversation, though, Chris. I'm not sure she left with that, because we also let her know that what I think the final answer on that was, let's seal the cracks and see if that takes care of it.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at replacing those that waterfall feature when we redo the pool with something different. Because she's saying the way that design is prone to issues and they don't really use it anymore.
Yeah. And they couldn't, I remember she said they had to refill the pool and do all that stuff and to run it to figure out if those other things were a problem. So
yeah, so I think where we landed was they were going to seal the cracks, paint it, put the sealant on it, and run it and see if that took care of it. Because they were going to have to fill the pool to see if they could find that anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So really the takeaway from this conversation is we need to call her and find out where she's at on her follow-up.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
And Smokey follows up with them. They're just very tough to get estimates out of. They're good at talking on the phone when you talk to them, but then the follow through. So we've been working with them on that. But Smokey will get on it, I'm sure, because he.
No, I bust their admin. Like, I even tried to bother her when she said she had personal stuff going on. So I'm not scared of that.
So we have a commitment for you, Smokey. You'll follow up with them tomorrow.
Absolutely, I'm following up with them right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And just circling back a little bit on that other conversation, I just want to make sure everybody is clear that just because I was the one presenting all the work that's happened, that really work is because we have Smokey's helped us make that happen. I mean, he's gotten the bids, he's gotten all that stuff taken care of. This is just the result piece. Not all the work that went into getting there. So I just want to make sure. If
it's maybe my fault for not knowing, but Mark usually, and we kind of set it up where he not runs, but he speaks to some parts of the agenda. Smokey, but Smokey does a outstanding job taking care of our day-to-day stuff on that. So.
No, and I'll let you guys know I might be a little sensitive right now.
Really?
No, I've taken on some new communities that I don't have a relationship with like you guys. So when I hear things like, "Oh, I'll take that," "Oh, I'll take that," it's like I've gotten some feedback afterwards.
And then don't be taking that other stuff out in those communities on us, all right, brother?
No, I'm not. I didn't take anything out. I asked a question. I wanted to be apparent.
We're teasing you, Smokey.
I know.
It's all good.
Do you guys? Hey, hands down, I have 2 boards I absolutely love to work with, and I have 8 associations right now, and you're one of them. You're actually the best one. Well, there's a close second, and you've met them at the mingle 2 years ago, and that's gatherings. But you guys are both top notch. I never have issues. Your community is absolutely privileged to have you guys as a board, in my opinion, and that's my professional opinion because I deal with a lot of them.
Appreciate that, and I think you know very well, specifically for me or Chris and Mark,
all of us.
We will, if we have issues, we will certainly let you know if we have issues.
No, I know that
in any direction. So I think we're
Absolutely.
good. I think we can close the loop on that. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Right. Any further discussions regarding questions from people? I think it's just us on the call.
I think almost everyone dropped off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, if no, then I'll make that be the conclusion of the general business on that, and we're going to the board will now adjourn to executive sessions in accordance with Texas Property Code, Chapter 82, Section 82108. The board is permitted to adjourn the opening meeting and reconvene in a closed executive session to discuss pending or threatened litigation, contract negotiation, personal matters, or matters involving the invasion of privacy of individual owners. Tonight's executive session will cover the AR aging report and delinquencies, violations and hearings, and confidential contract related work orders. Homeowners are now